Hello everybody and welcome to another Messy Church at home. We are still in lockdown, so we can't gather together as we usually do for Messy Church. Although because it's February, we don't normally meet for Messy Church. We normally meet for our Scrapheap challenge. And we thought that we wouldn't let lockdown stop us. And so we are going to have Scrapheap challenge at home in 2021. But before I tell you what I want you to make, what the challenge is, we're going to hear a story read for us from the Jesus Storybook Bible. And Helen is going to read that for us. Thank you, Helen.
Hello again. I've got another story for you from the Jesus Storybook Bible, where every story whispers his name. And this story is called A Giant Staircase to Heaven. It's the story of the Tower of Babel, and it's taken from Genesis chapter 11, and Genesis is right at the beginning of your Bible. Noah and his family lived in the land, and his children had children, and those children had more children, and then those children had even more. Well, you get the picture. Until there were lots of people on the earth once more. Now back then, everyone spoke exactly the same language, so you didn't need to learn Swahili or Japanese or anything, because you could say hello to anyone and they would know what you meant. One day, everyone was talking and they came up with an idea. Let's build ourselves a beautiful city to live in. It can be our home and we'll be safe forever and ever. Then they had another idea. And let's build a really tall tower to reach up to heaven. Turn the book sideways now. Can you see that really tall tower? Yes, they said. We'll say, look at us up here. And everyone will look up at us. And we'll look down on them. And then we'll know we're something. We'll be like God. We'll be famous and safe and happy, and everything will be all right. So they got to work. Brick by brick, the tower grew higher and higher until it soared above the city, touching the sky. They built stairs in the tower to climb to the top. It was like a giant staircase to heaven. Look, they cheered, we're the ones. See what we can do with our very own hands. They were quite pleased with themselves. But God wasn't pleased with them. God could see what they were doing. They were trying to live without him. But God knew that wouldn't make them happy or safe or anything. If they kept on like this, they would only destroy themselves. And God loved them too much to let that happen. So he stopped their plans. One morning they went to work as usual, but everything was different. Their words were all new and funny. You see, God had given each person a completely different language. Suddenly, no one understood what anyone else was saying. Someone would say, how do you do? And the other person thought they said, how ugly are you? It wasn't funny. You could be saying something nice like, such a lovely morning, and get a punch in the nose because they thought you said, hush up, you're boring. You couldn't even say pardon to check if you'd heard right, because no one understood that word either. It wasn't easy to work together after that, as you can only imagine. People were always quarrelling and fighting and getting in a dreadful muddle and becoming grumpier and grumpier until at last they were all too cross to keep on building and just had to stop. After that, people scattered all over the world, which is how we ended up with so many different languages to this day. You see, God knew however high they reached, however hard they tried, people could never get back to heaven by themselves. People didn't need a staircase, they needed a rescuer, because the way back to heaven wasn't a staircase, it was a person. People could never reach up to heaven, so heaven would have to come down to them, and one day it would.
Thank you, Helen. So I wonder which part of that story did you like the best? I wonder which part of the story you think is the most important. I wonder what you think the story tells us about human beings, about us. What do you think it tells us about God? I wonder if there's any part of the story you think we could leave out and still have all the story we need. The Tower of Babel story really does make you think. But the Tower of Babel story also gives us the challenge for this year's Scrapheap challenge. Unsurprisingly, what I want you to do is to make a Tower of Babel from any cardboard boxes, scrap, anything you can safely use to make a Tower of Babel. But I want you to make it look like a ziggurat. This is a ziggurat. It's a stepped pyramid, and historians think this is probably what the Tower of Babel would have looked like. So I want children, families, grown-ups, adults, everybody to have a go at making the tallest Tower of Babel you possibly can. But I don't just want boxes thrown together. I want you to make it look like a ziggurat. So it's got to look artistic. It's got to look good. And I'm going to find somebody who can judge this, and an independent judge will decide the best looking ziggurat as well as the tallest. So if you're going to enter the tallest competition, you need to put a tape measure next to it or something to show how high it really is. What I want you to do is to build your towers, take a picture of it and send it into salem.cheltenham@gmail.com. And then the pictures will be judged and there may well be prizes available. Get your pictures in by the 1st of March 2021 if you want to have an opportunity at getting a prize. If you haven't got lots of junk around your house and you want to have a go at drawing me a picture of a ziggurat, send those in as well and we will judge the best one of those too. So this is for everybody. Have a go at making a ziggurat of Babel for me. And hopefully soon and very soon we will be able to meet again in Salem and see one another. And hopefully in 2022, our Scrapheap Challenge, we can all be together and enjoy a meal as well. But until then, stay safe and I will see you again soon. Goodbye.